All right. Is this thing working? Oh, says I have 3 people. Someone comment so I know. Like, tell me how great my hair looks. Can you hear me? Maybe not. No? Does anybody know how to comment? Okay, good. You got me. All right, cool. Well, I don't know how many people are going to show up to this, but this is something I've wanted to do for a while. This is going to be the pre-race poll for Loudon, and we're going to talk about this race. My hair could not be better, by the way. That will get you booted from this live stream. This is a pre-race poll, and what we're going to do is everyone grab their favorite beverage, whatever it may be, and the term pull comes from a buddy of mine who, when on the golf course, will say, taking a pull before he takes a drink of his Coors Light every single time. So, happy race day, everybody. And this is the first inaugural pre-race pull. So stay green and cheers. Everybody enjoy that? Because we're going to do that hopefully more and more this throughout the year. So a couple of things I'd like to get out of the way here. This is not a NASCAR sanctioned or a bet the board. This is something I wanted to do for myself. I think it's really important to talk out loud or to think through things. And so hopefully we can get enough people going on here, asking questions and discussing the race, that we can kind of have this hive mind and maybe not miss anything. Because here's the thing, when it comes to betting, no one's better than anyone else. Everyone has their own perspective. I know what's important to me when I'm betting, and what's important to me might not be important to you. There's a lot of people that are just looking for fun. I'm looking to make money, and I need to be able to make enough money to not have a job, because there's nothing worse than going to work on Mondays. So as long as we keep winning, I won't have to do that. A couple of rules. Number one, don't just ask what I'm betting. I'm not going to tell you what I'm betting. That's just not going to happen. If you want to know what I'm betting, follow the Bet the Board Pod on Twitter, and we release plays on there. Or check out the podcast that comes out every Friday, Bet the Board Pod, Stay Green Podcast. I always give one pick of the week during the week, and then we give out one pick on the morning. So this morning, you're going to have to go to bettheboard.com to find that pick. So I won't even tell you what that is. Also, I don't care what you're betting either. How about that? I don't care. I know all the bets that are available, and I've made my bets. So I just kind of want to talk about the race and talk about maybe different things that I might be missing or that you might be missing as we kind of work our way through the field. You can call me an idiot as long as you give a reason. So if you say something, or if I say something you don't like, if you just say, well, you're an idiot, Worm, well, I'm going to boot you for that. If you say, well, you're an idiot, Worm, because you're forgetting this and this and this, I am going to change my mind, and I'm going to thank you for actually pointing that out. Does anybody have any questions about that? I certainly hope not, because it's pretty simple. Sorry, I blanked out. I just walked through, by the way, does anyone else's significant other watch Selling Sunset? I literally just walked through the living room, and my girlfriend was watching it. I got dumber for like 10 seconds while I was standing there. Couldn't believe it. Anyway, that's beside the point. I know, let's get over the elephant in the room. My hair is this perfect. This is my real hair. This is not photoshopped. This is actually the real deal. Pretty impressive for a Sunday morning when I'm hungover. Anyway, let's talk about the race today at Loudon. This is one of my favorite tracks. I don't know about you guys. I love this track. Anytime that there's predictability, or I find tracks that have tire wear and off throttle time in the corner, I find more predictable. Anytime you're constantly on the throttle, like last week in Atlanta, for example, I have a hard time predicting that. So I'm really excited about today. And by the way, if you don't know who I'm on today, I mean, I've said it on a couple different podcasts, and if you don't know who I've bet today, then you're probably going to work tomorrow for sure. Like that's like, if you definitely need to listen to the Bet the Board pod, because the pick we gave out this week, I think this guy's going to win the race. And I'll tell you at the end who I think is going to win the race. So drivers that I just think can win the race today if they get out front. Um, I think that there are a couple cars that stand out better than others, but I think if these cars get out front, I don't know how they're going to necessarily get there, but I think they'll be hard to pass if they do get out front. Listen, if Ross Chastain gets to the front, he's going to be hard to pass. Like Chastain today, I don't. Does anybody have a feel on Ross Chastain today? I mean, if someone came up to me and said, "I bet Ross Chastain at 15 to 1," I don't even care what the track is. I'd go, "Okay, I'm okay with that." Like you can't argue with it. So I think if he gets out front, I definitely think he could win. Kevin Harvick, obviously, if he gets out front, he could win. Kyle Larson, if he gets out front, he could win. Chase Elliott probably could win if he gets out front based on lap times in practice. That's what I'm looking at over here. It's just kind of my notes for the race. Um, Eric Almirola, he had some front end speed and he held on a little bit. I don't think his car is as good as it was last year, but he's also better than I thought he was going to be. I was kind of hard on Ross or on Almirola earlier in the week. Excuse me. I think he's going to be all right. I don't know that if he gets to the lead, he's going to be that hard to pass. Chase Briscoe, if he gets out front, nobody's passing him. Let me say that again. If Chase Briscoe gets to the front, nobody will pass him based on his practice. But I don't know. He's starting way back. It's really hard to work through the field. He has a terrible pit stall. Derek and I discussed it earlier today. Like it's going to be hard for him to kind of get to the front. But if he does, he'll be really good. No surprise here. Kyle Busch. Did you know Kyle Busch is a good race car driver and he's good on short flat tracks? So yes, he could win. Truex actually looked decent in practice for the first time in a while. He looked good in Nashville and he was pretty fast, but he hasn't looked good in practice all year and he's raced much better. So this is a little bit of an improvement on Truex in practice. Obviously, the first pit stall is huge. I think that he has a real chance to win the race. Like him and Kyle Busch, legit chances to win the race. The last guy that I think can win the race if he gets out front is Willie B. Now, yesterday I had, well, speaking of yesterday, who watched the Xfinity race yesterday? I did. Okay, that is how a race gets away from bettors really quickly. I mean, Justin Allgaier had an average car at best, and he won the race. I mean, he was racing with Landon Castle and Sheldon Creed late. Anybody see that coming? Nope. So, by the way, this can happen in any race. Any race, you could have something flip-flop the field, and the next thing you know, you've got Alex Bowman doesn't. You could have a Bowman Cindric showdown here at the end of the race. I don't think that'll happen, but it could happen. So that race was crazy yesterday. So those are the drivers I think that can win: Chastain, Harvick, Larson, kind of Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., and William Byron, based on speeds in practice. Now, obviously, that can change. We only had 20 minutes worth of practice, but those are the guys I think are going to be best. Drivers that I just don't know. I mean, like I said, I just don't know how good Chastain is. I don't know. I also don't know how good Brad Keselowski is. Are we going to see Brad kind of just run 7th to 10th all day? Or in 15 laps, is he going to be down in like 18th bitching about his car? I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to read with Brad. I trust him as a driver. I just don't trust his car. It's kind of, he's matched up against Bubba Wallace. That's a driver I don't trust against a car I don't trust. So I don't know on that one. I don't want to take a position when there's unknowns, and I don't want to justify it by looking at pit stop speed, for example. Like their pit stop time was great or whatever. I'm not going to justify it. I'll just walk away. I only played 3 matchups today. So not a matchup heavy guy. Sometimes I think the most I played this year is like 8, but I only played 3 today. Someone else, I don't know, Tyler Reddick. Just kind of an average weekend after a huge week, I just don't know how good Reddick's going to be. He was good last year, but he also disappears in races. Like isn't it funny? Like sometimes Reddick, it just gets to the front, like at Fontana, he was awesome. And then there's other races where it's like, is Tyler Reddick even racing today? I haven't seen him on TV. He hasn't been in the top 15. Like, where did Tyler Reddick go? He just disappears. I think Denny Hamlin, I don't know. He was average in practice, like below average. Ryan Blaney, below average. I was kind of shocked at Logano and Blaney. Those are guys that run really well at Phoenix and well at Richmond, and they just did not show any speed. And I could be wrong, but those guys were kind of on my fade list a little bit with good drivers. I just I can't back them. I mean, it's good. I mean, Ryan Blaney looked good at Phoenix and looked good at Richmond, and he put it on the pole. And then today, you see an 11th place. What a pedestrian qualifying effort of Ryan Blaney. So I don't expect him to run well. And plus, Blaney in traffic is average at best. Bubba Wallace. I mean, what a great qualifying. Again, I just feel like if Bubba has one little mistake, he just loses his mind. And then the next thing you know, he's, just happy to stay on the lead lap. I mean, I could see Bubba Wallace racing in the top 10 kind of all day, having one mistake, and then end up running 2 laps down just because he's beside himself. And I just don't know. I don't know what to expect from him. Other guys, I mean, Eric Jones, I can never put my finger on him. Sometimes I think he's going to be great, and other times I think he's going to be terrible, and I can't cap it right with him. I'm never right. So he's just kind of off my list of people to bet on or people to fade. Kurt Busch didn't seem that great in practice, and then he had a unicorn lap. And you know what I appreciate about that? He was honest. He was honest that, hey, I just got one really good lap, because he was very average in practice. I mean, he did not have any front end speed. He held on a little bit in the longer runs in the 5 and 10 lap averages, but definitely not someone that I'm rushing to back or fade, because he's just a guy that's kind of around. I didn't see him winning at Kansas. He's just a tough guy. There's a few of these guys I just don't know sometimes. And then Daniel Suarez, I was kind of shocked at how bad he's kind of looked. And then he qualified poorly. He's just another guy. I mean, but him and Chastain qualified 18th and 19th. That's crazy. I did not think we were going to see that. If you were to tell me that at the beginning of the week that those Trackhouse guys would struggle, then I would have disagreed. So, I mean, and if people have questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not just going to say what I bet. That's the only thing I won't do. But if you have questions about a driver, or about the race or something, or even just something you want to add that maybe I'm missing as I'm talking. I mean, like I said, I'm not perfect at this. I've made a lot of mistakes, and my goal in doing this is to maybe bring some of the sharper people that take this seriously, and let's fix some mistakes if there are any. So just be sure you can comment as much as you want, except for my hair. My hair is perfect. Derek, one more comment like that, and I will be booting you. But okay, so I'm just going to get into it. I think Kevin Harvick's going to win this race. Okay, let me say it again and more slowly for the people that weren't paying attention. I think Kevin Harvick is going to win this race. So I feel like me just doing this is really bad. I feel like something's going to get photoshopped. I'll never do this again. I regret that immediately. Shoot. Beside myself now. So here's why I like Kevin Harvick. And I've said this since I've been waiting for this since last week. I went on the In Between Media podcast, and they wanted me to handicap Loudon. And I was like, those odds haven't come out yet, because this was 2 weeks ago. So I was a little nervous to say what I thought. So I just danced around and just kind of said a lot of nothing that didn't mean anything, just because I didn't want, not that I'm the end all be all. Oh, hey, we have a question here I'll address in a second. I didn't think that, well, now I can't stop thinking about the question. And now I forgot where I was at. I'm drinking a Lone Tree, by the way. It's a great dry cider up here in Canada. I mean, driver team surprise. I think it's really easy to say. It's obviously easy to say Trackhouse, and I would say Suarez is a much bigger surprise than Chastain. I just think Suarez has been in the best equipment before. He was with Gibbs, and he was never great, or never even really competitive from what I remember. And to see him as competitive as he is this year is pretty impressive. Someone can get behind a Harvick win. Blake, have him outright top 5, top 4. Thoughts on Cindric top 10? Oh, okay. So here's a good question. I didn't even mention Cindric. I think he's driving a dump truck today, which is kind of shocking, because I thought that the Fords were going to be much better. Well, when I say Fords, I also think Harvick's going to win. So I thought that the Penske's, I guess you could say, were going to be much better. He's just not. And man, that opened up as that was a matchup earlier in the week. And I actually thought Cindric was a side. It was Cindric and someone help me. Who is he matched up against? Oh, Almirola, right? Almirola. And Almirola was like minus 135. And I remember I jumped with a full tank with Phil was on Cindric. I remember saying, hey, like I actually like that. I think that's a good bet. I think Cindric will qualify better. And I think Almirola is a little overrated going into this week. And I was wrong. Almirola is going to kick the shit out of Cindric. And the price reflects these like minus 255. Now, that does not mean go bet Eric Almirola. I would not bet Eric Almirola at minus 255 unless he's matched up against Josh Bilicki. I would take Eric Almirola minus 255 against Josh Bilicki, but no one else. By the way, hey, so yeah, don't bet at Cindric. Well, you can do whatever you want. And by the way, I'll be wrong a lot. I've been wrong a lot in my life. And that's a sign of someone that's gambled a ton. It's like, what's your lock of the week? And I just laugh like, a lock? No. There's no locks. The way that I've lost bets, I can't even describe like what's your worst beat. I'm like, how much time do you have? I could spend an entire week on vacation just describing the worst beats of my life, just in NASCAR. So I could be wrong, but I'm sure you're seeing a great price on him. Top 10. I don't see it. I don't see it with his lap times. He wasn't very good. And neither was Austin Dillon. I don't think and Alex Bowman. Where the hell has Alex Bowman been? I mean, what is he doing? Like he seems average at best. You know what? I was saying earlier this week, there was a Byron Bowman matchup earlier in the week, and I think that Bowman was a slight dog. He's like plus 105, and Byron was like minus 125 or something like that. And the way that I kind of handicapped that earlier in the week was if both of them have the same car and they're not very good, if both of them have the same car and they're average and they're back in the field, I think that Bowman does a better job of working his way through traffic and getting a better finish. Whereas Byron, he'll just disappear. Now, the one thing that Byron can do is he'll unload. And if he unloads, he's going to crush Bowman. And sure enough, he did. He unloaded. He's had some really fast laps early in practice. And I think he's going to destroy. I think he would destroy Bowman. But I think the price has already reflected that. If you didn't get on Byron earlier in the week, then that's not even, you can't bet that. I wouldn't be shocked. Alex Bowman always races better than he looks. Like he always kind of looks average in practice, but when he looks good, he wins. I remember 2 years ago, like 2020, right before the pandemic, man, he had a rocket ship at Fontana, and man, he had a rocket ship in Fontana. Oh, you locked it up before qualifying and practice. Sorry, Blake. I'd love to pop a rainbow in your ass and tell you everything's going to be great, but it's not. I think you're in for a long day with that bet. If you can sell it, I'd sell it. Yeah, that's just not going to happen. So I think Harvick's the guy today. And I mean, yes, there's a little bias there because I do have a lot of money on him, and I have since earlier in the week. I can see Harvick maybe starting off just kind of feeling out his car and maybe even losing a spot or two early in a run. But I think after lap 15 and lap 20, you're going to see him making passes. I think you'll see whatever car can work both on the bottom and on the top, and those are the cars that you're going to want to live bet. If you're looking to live bet somebody, those are the guys anyone that can make passes. Those are the guys that you want to live bet because it's hard to pass out there, especially deep in the pack. So I'm really curious to see what happens with that Suarez, Chastain, and Kyle Busch. They're starting 17th, 18th, and 19th. Are they going to be able to fly up through the field? I have no idea. Yeah, so what is the weather? Can someone help me out with that? I thought that we were kind of in the clear, but that makes me nervous. Like all of a sudden I have a heartburn thinking about there being weather because that's how Chris Buescher wins. Well, in bad equipment, that's how he wins. So I think that teams have to take a chance. I mean, anybody that has to win is going to take a chance. I don't have the points right in front of me, but I can certainly see anybody win and you're in. I think you see a lot of people doing that. 0% chance of rain. Perfect. Lightning hold right now at the track. Is Blake mad at me? Is he screwing with me right now? This might just be him giving me a hard time here. But yeah, I don't think that there's rain. I guess I can check, but I don't know. I think here's the thing. It's really tough to gamble at this track because there is going to be fall off. I mean, we saw anywhere from, let me see. From the start of a run to at the end of a run, you're seeing, the good cars have very little fall off. Oh, per Bob Pockras. Okay. Are they really? That's crazy. I hope that's not the case. Huh. Yeah, this is what happens when you're on this live stream is I'm trying to pay attention to this and I'm not scrolling Twitter. So yeah, if any breaking news comes up, like someone going to the rear, please let me know. The fall off was on most cars you're looking at, man, anywhere from half a second to 6/10 over, over 15 to 20 laps. So I think you'll see if there's a 30 lap run, I'm pretty sure as long as tires aren't an issue, and usually this race stays pretty green for the most part. So I think you'll see longer runs. I think you'll see guys take tires after 30 laps, just because you are seeing, 0.6 of a second fall off. So if you're looking at like a 30 lap run, you're probably looking at close to a second of fall off. The one thing we haven't seen is what a 30 lap run will do on these tires with this car. So I could see maybe, if a good car, like I think Harvick just has the least amount of fall off. And so that's why he's kind of my pick to win. This is a rhythm track and he doesn't force anything. He probably won't pick up a lot of spots early in the run, but later in the run, he certainly could. But I'm just interested to see how Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, and Daniel Suarez kind of work their way through the field and if they're going to be able to do it quickly. I mean, if you see Kyle Busch crack the top 10 in like 15 laps, look out. I mean, there's a really good chance that Angels not win. I don't know what that means. Jeff, talk to me here. I don't know what that means. I think Kyle Busch probably after practice looked the best, along with Chase Briscoe. I was shocked at that qualifying. He's just going to be so far back in the field. I just can't see him. I can't see him getting up. He's going to be dealing with pit road. I mean, 29th. He's going to have, I think Larson's pitting in front of him. I mean, this is going to be a tough day for Chase Briscoe. Now, if he might be someone that could stay out on older tires and hope to get a quick caution, but I just don't know. It's so hard to come from the back, and he just doesn't have a ton of experience. The only guys you actually see go to the back and come to the front this year have been Larson, Hamlin, Bell, and Kyle Busch. Those are the only guys that when they've gone to the rear, they've come back. Maybe a little bit of Chastain, but for the most part, Kyle Busch and Hamlin and Bell have done it the most, all those Gibbs guys. And for those of you that, like, I have Chris Bell. I bet him earlier in the week for small. I thought he'd qualify well. I did get a decent number. I wouldn't touch the number where he's at right now, but I just wouldn't be shocked. I never know with Chris Bell. Sometimes I'm like, oh, he's going to be great. And then he's terrible. And sometimes I think he's going to be terrible. And then he's great. I never know with him. Some of these younger guys, they learn so much at the track. So it's just kind of hard to figure out if they're going to be good or not. But yeah, ultimately, I think, from an outright perspective, you got to have Harvick. And I mean, that might just be confirmation bias. Like I was looking for him to be good in practice and then he was, and then Rodney Childers liked my tweet. So I felt like I was a superhero, and I think he's going to win. William Byron was fast. And I think Truex with that first pit stall, he'll have that track position and a little bit of confidence. He's finally had some speed in his car. So I think you could see, him run up front and win the race. I was shocked that Truex has never won here. I would have thought he won 3 times. If you had asked me, if I was gun to my head, I'd say 3 or 2.5 times. I don't know. I was kind of shocked at that. Does anybody have any more questions? I'd like to wrap this up here in probably the next 5 minutes. And is this something we should do again? Just the pre-race poll. I'd like to do it and just kind of think out loud, and it kind of helps me. And hopefully it can help you guys in, making smarter decisions. I don't do much daily fantasy stuff. Excuse me. So I don't know much about that, but yeah, if there's no more questions, I'll probably just wrap this up and hope that that Harvick can pull this thing off. I mean, we've got just about an hour till they go green, and okay, Mitch, this is a good question. So in a race like this, where I think that there's it will be a race where there will kind of be the haves and the have-nots. I mean, it clearly in practice there were cars that were really good, and I typically I only have 2 outrights right now, but I'll add live. And the guys you want to add live are the guys that aren't getting passed and they're making passes. So the minute someone gets passed, I kind of like write them off, and you kind of have to pay attention to whether they slipped and they were passed or they truly just got passed because their car is junk. So at this track, I would say 3 to 4 would be good because I do think that there will be passing at a place like Gateway where there's not a lot of passing. It's going to be more track dependent and track position race. I would say you'd want to have 6 or 7 because you want to have guys on separate strategies. Because when all of a sudden guys are taking 2 tires and some are fuel only or some are staying out, you want to make sure that you have the lead guy in all of those strategies. So that's my advice is if you're watching the race, Mitch, you're going to have to watch a few before you're going to feel comfortable, I would think. Excuse me. But at this track, I think 3 to 4. I mean, everything is price dependent. I can't tell you. I don't know what you have access to from an odds perspective. I mean, I saw Truex anywhere from 5 to 1 or plus 450 all the way to 8 to 1. Well, I certainly don't like him at plus 450, but 8 to 1's a little better. Well, then take Kevin Harvick and then we'll eat lobster together tonight. That's my advice, Mitch. Just take Kevin Harvick and then we'll eat like kings. Well, I want to wake up with gout tomorrow. That's my goal. I want so much butter and wine and meat and lobster that I wake up with gout. That's my, yeah, there you go. Harvick and KFB. I think you're pretty safe with those bets. You'll at least have 2 guys I think that are going to be in the mix, I hope. That's the other thing. We've done all this prep all week. And this is the hard part about being a professional bettor. Put in all these hours thinking about the scenarios, and then you could lose money. That's why it's so hard. And then you know what? Tomorrow there's a new week. There's another race next week, and we got to wake up and we're going to do it again. So, yeah, I think there's a pretty successful pre-race poll. We're going to do it. Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Blaze, his hair sucks compared to mine. I figure if I can't be the best NASCAR betting guy in the universe, maybe I'm the best NASCAR bettor with the best hair. Is that a thing? I'll take it. I think it's a very small group of people, but I'll take it. So this is, and hey, here's the deal. We have to stay green. And the reason the name of the podcast that I have is called Stay Green is because at the end of the race, there's nothing worse than needing a caution to make money. You want to be saying with 15 or 20 laps to go, I am pacing like hell. Just stay green, stay green, stay green, because that means that we did a good job capping the race. And sometimes it means that we're just going to break even, which I'm also happy with. So a lot of the times it depends on how the race is going. But I know with 15 or 20 to go, if I'm saying stay green, I'm happy with the outcome. So we'll do one more pre-race poll. And stay green. It's us versus them, guys. It's not us versus each other on these bets. It's us versus them, the odds makers. So good luck and stay green. Cheers.